all over the field and them try to hurt the Steelers defense that way. For Aaron Rodgers, we didn't get to see him in the preseason, but the connection to him and DK Metcalf should be a beauty to see. On the last one, we wait till Sunday night to see MVP versus MVP. All eyes are on Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. I'm focused on this Buffalo Bills defense. They have injuries in the secondary. Tre'Davious White not practicing just yet. Benford just coming back off of an injury. Can they stop the run with Milano and Bernard up front with Derrick Henry coming directly at him? The Bills defense to me is the biggest question mark stopping them to get to the Super Bowl, and it's a huge test with the Baltimore Ravens and Lamar Jackson rolling into town.
Derrick Henry last season was tied with the Bills' James Cook for the league lead rushing touchdowns with 16. I like how everything always ties into relationships somehow. Let's get to tomorrow's game in Brazil. Chiefs Chargers. Casey had its walkthrough this morning. Patrick Mahomes spoke to the media. It's new on SportsCenter.
I'm super excited for these guys to have the opportunity to go out there and accept the challenge. You know, Josh has had a great camp and he's had a great offseason. He had a great college career, and now he gets the next challenge of playing in the NFL, and I think he's ready for it. And so I think throughout the whole offensive line, they've taken it personal and want to showcase who they truly are. We've got a lot of great players up there, and I think they're ready for the challenge.
All right, so the Chiefs, they're chasing their 4th straight Super Bowl appearance. How much of that hinges on the rookie Josh Simmons' play?
A ton of it hinges on him. I mean, you look at last year with Patrick Mahomes, he wasn't getting the ball down the field. It was his fewest yards per attempt in his entire career. And a lot of that had to do with the protection up front wasn't strong enough to give him the time to get the ball down the field. So enter Josh Simmons. That now allows everybody to play different positions. Kingsley Suamataia now moves into the guard position. And now for Patrick Mahomes, he can get back to the guy we know, Hollywood Brown, Xavier Worthy. Getting the ball deep down the field to those guys unleashes this offense, and we get to see that Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes connection, and also Travis Kelce. Congratulations on the engagement. We get to see him work underneath. I had to hit the relationship for I had to make sure
every single segment. I don't know how that happened. By the way, Simmons did not allow any pressures pass blocking last season at Ohio State. Now, specifically for the matchup tomorrow night, what are you looking for, or on Friday night, excuse me, what are you looking for Chiefs Chargers?
I look at when the Chargers have the ball, Ladd McConkey. He's the receiver that runs a ton of routes, is able to get open. Now, on the other side of the ball for the Kansas City Chiefs, where is Trent McDuffie and where is he aligning? How much will we see these guys go one-on-one? Because McDuffie can be on the outside, he can be in the slot. They're going to move Ladd all around the formation. I think that's the matchup to watch when the Chargers have the ball, and to see which guy wins that one may play a huge part in who comes out victorious in Brazil.
Was waiting for the relationship analogy there. By the way, tomorrow is Friday. I got a little confused there. Jason, thank you.
Friday's date night.
It is week 2 of the college football season. Texas trying to regroup at home against San Jose State Saturday noon Eastern ABC. Last week in Columbus, the Longhorns became the first #1 to lose its opener since Miami in 1990. Arch Manning's Heisman hype is gone. However, Tommy thinks this can help.
Even though he didn't have his best game today and they lost, if he uses this to his advantage, Arch, he's going to be tougher for it. And he's going to have a better next game because of it. And I always felt like you've got to deal with a lot of adversity from a quarterback standpoint to toughen you up to be the true leader for the organization.
I would say Tom Brady, as Sam Otto joining us now, comes from a different prism. He was the underdog that worked into the greatest of all time. He started up here and now has to work his way back up. So having said that, what do you want to see out of Arch in week 2?
I want to see early accuracy from Arch, and that starts really with Steve Sarkisian. Get a couple the screen game in there. Get the run game more involved. We saw an early miss from Arch Manning, and in that stadium, at Ohio Stadium, you saw the confidence start to maybe not wane or dwindle, but it never increased. So get a couple easy throws and to build that confidence as a quarterback. And also, we talked about the play calling. You have to lean on the people around you. One thing about Steve Sarkisian is that he's one of the most elite play callers in the nation. Has done a great job of that last week.
I would say, too, the troubling part, you saw it there in the video, is missing the wide open guys. He's got to correct that.
Yeah, he does. And we talk about it. It's just easy passes early. Get him some confidence early. We saw he wasn't settled from the beginning. You got to get that done at the very beginning of the game.
You know which game I'm looking forward to? Michigan and Oklahoma. We were talking about it a minute ago. This kid, Bryce Underwood, He's going to be elite now. He's got to go on the road. What does he have to do to beat the Sooners in Norman?
Just do what he did last week. He has great touch with his passes, but also he has a lot of power. So I want to see some of the touch and the power. Here's the touch early in the game, really first play of the third quarter to his tight end. You saw him just float that ball over the outstretched arms of the defender. But it's not just that. It's Bryce Underwood on the move. He throws with elite level accuracy. You'll see him on the move, on the run, with a lot of power. That's one thing I love about his game. So he's not a one-dimensional quarterback. He's also not really a runner, more of a pocket passer, if you will. Not going to use his legs, but man, when he uses his arm, it's outstanding.
I'm telling you, he should give Arch Manning like a thank you card and some of that NIL money, because if not for Arch, we'd have been blowing this kid up throughout the entire offseason. In fact, he had more passing yards this past Saturday than any Michigan player had in a game last season. Either that says a lot about him or a lot about
that Raiders receiver Amari Cooper is going to retire. Just a few weeks ago, he agreed to return to the Raiders, the franchise that drafted him 4th overall in 2015. Cooper is a 5-time Pro Bowler who had over 1,000 yards 7 times. He also played for Dallas, Cleveland, and Buffalo. So after 10 seasons, he calls it a career. The 5-time Pro Bowl wide receiver finishes his career with 711 receptions for 10,033 yards with 64 touchdowns. This comes a week after that reunion with the Raiders.
You know, Christine, some other newsy stuff ahead of tonight's opening week kick between Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts, Cowboys, Eagles. Adam Schefter tweeted this morning that one team that made a strong play to the Cowboys about Micah Parsons was none other than tonight's Eagles. Sources told Schefter the Cowboys had no interest in trading Parsons in the division, especially to the defending champs. I would say, as much as Jerry gets bashed, that was probably a good decision not to. Speaking of Eagles and Cowboys, our NFL reporter Jeff Darlington is with us now. Darlington, in terms of injuries for tonight, what's the latest on Cowboys corner Trevon Diggs and Eagles offensive lineman Landon Dickerson?
Well, good news as we get into week 1. It does feel like we've got 2 healthy rosters right now. We can start with Trevon Diggs. He is slated to play in this game off of really 2 weeks of practice this entire offseason. He had a very complicated knee surgery earlier this year. He was able to get in there for 2 weeks and really train with the first team defense. He is expected to participate. You also mentioned Landon Dickerson, dealing with a back issue that kept him out of Monday's practice. This is also someone who's been dealing with some knee rehab this offseason, but Dickerson no longer on the injury report. Very important to that offensive line. So 2 key players in this game will both be available for the teams tonight.
Yeah, the idea is week 1's probably going to be the healthiest anyone is across the league. You want your full roster as you embark on a brand new season. Time now for Darlington Dishes as he takes us around the league. So, Jeff, how is Jordan Love feeling headed into week 1?
He's feeling very good. You mentioned the fact that this is the week that you want to be the most healthy. He is a guy who did deal with a surgically repaired left thumb this offseason. He said he is now feeling 100%, so he does enter this season ready to roll as QB1, trying to turn around what was a little bit of a sluggish season last year, but now Love coming into this season completely healthy. Great news for the Green Bay Packers. Now, there was some concern about Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill throughout this training camp because of an oblique injury that was sort of keeping him back a little bit, but he is on track for week 1. Mike McDaniel seeming confident that Hill has been making the type of progress that will get him out on the field. He was battling some injuries throughout last season, so this is also big for him to enter this year fully healthy. The Dolphins obviously need him if he's going to make this run. Now, the Tampa Bay Bucks not quite as healthy here when it comes to Chris Godwin. He's not likely to play in this game, but one thing I want to point out is that Emeka Egbuka is coming into this season with rave reviews out of the Buccaneers camp. It looks like he will be wide receiver number 2 without Godwin behind Mike Evans. But I just want to tell you, if you are a fantasy football manager, you better be looking closely at Egbuka. This guy truly looks like he could be one of those players who's up for Offensive Rookie of the Year by the time this season's over.
By the way, Chris Carter, Joey Galloway, Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr. These are all great receivers that came out of Ohio State. Egbuka is the all-time leader in receptions for the Buckeyes. Wild. That's how good he was. By the way, we were talking about like Schefter tweets earlier today. I did see, courtesy of Adam Schefter via the Twitter, it was good to see that Jim Ornstein, agent to the Stars, is still doing his job. So I'll just leave it at that. I'll leave it at that.
That's our guy.
Congratulations, Darlington.
Hey.
All right, don't know about you, but I'm ready for some football. NFL kicks off tonight with the Cowboys in Philly to play the Eagles. So many storylines, from the champs trying to defend their title to Dallas playing its first game without Micah Parsons. I'm not the only one fired up about this game. Taylor Lewan and Will Compton joined Get Up this morning, but we start with Dan Orlovsky. Take a listen.
I think George Pickens is the star of the night for the Cowboys if they hang, though. George Pickens is an elite receiver when it comes to physical talent. If I'm Dallas, I'm going to make George Pickens earn his money tonight. We traded you for this type of game. They're going to take away CeeDee Lamb. Great. We think that we have the better player then. Dallas, George Pickens should get 12 targets tonight.
Dallas has done a great job of drafting and developing their players. But you got 3 Tylers, a Terrence, and a Cooper who need to hold up against that front center of the Eagles. If they don't do that, it doesn't matter how good the wide receivers are. Sure. It doesn't matter how good Dak Prescott is. He's got to stay upright to be able to get it done.
I think the key for Dallas is just winning on first down. You win early, you try to keep them in third and long, third and manageable, and stay away from the tush push. If Dallas can win early with Matt Eberflus as a new DC, I think that's what they can rally around, and I do think you'll see some type of pulse.
Let's get this straight. This is the last night that you're the reigning Super Bowl champion. And when you win the Super Bowl and when you play on Thursday night, when you play in your home, the energy from being the Super Bowl winning team is still there. You still have that feeling that we're the best football team in the world, and your fans expect that level of play. And I believe it is so difficult for a road team to go in and win in that type of atmosphere.
It's going to be a blowout. It's going to be a blowout. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a blowout. Let me be very, very clear about that right now. The Dallas Cowboys, what you going to do to stop the Eagles? And you're going to put yourself in a situation where you're going to have to throw the football a lot. Dak Prescott's going to get his numbers. All right, it's going to be competitive for a half. I'm counting 2 interceptions tonight. 2 interceptions coming. Okay, you're the Dallas Cowboys. You just sat up there and you got rid of Micah Parsons. You're looking at your squad defensively. Not anybody's expected, but so much from you. Offensively, so much is expected of you. We got to take into account Jerry Jones and the impact that he has on head coaches, because we know they listen to him. He doesn't want anybody that's not going to listen to him. The Philadelphia Eagles pull away and win by at least 14.
All right, it's now time for Acho Mine with Sam. Acho, ooh, I love that maniacal laugh. The Cowboys will keep things close against the Eagles. Sam, is that Acho Mine?
No, that is not Acho Mine. That is a very sane and reasonable statement. Why do I say that? Matt Eberflus is the new defensive coordinator. His first year as a DC for the Colts took them from one of the worst defenses to a top 10 defense. And oh, by the way, they just added, the Cowboys did, Kenny Clark, who is a dominant run defender. Philadelphia's offensive line is a great offensive line, but Landon Dickerson's coming off of injury, and also Tyler Steen is a new starter. So no, you are not Acho Mine.
Somebody in the studio thinks the Cowboys could win. Despite the addition of Micah Parsons, the Packers will lose to the Lions. Is that Acho Mine?
That is absolutely Acho Mine. You're going to take a top 10 defense, really number 6 overall, add a dominant pass rusher, 52.5 sacks. And yes, I understand people were talking about Micah Parsons and his back. Well, I talked to somebody who's a part of that team. He said, man, Micah Parsons, his twitch is ridiculous. So you're adding that to a guy like Rashawn Gary. And oh, by the way, the Detroit Lions have lost both their offensive and their defensive coordinator. It's Acho Mine if you think that the Packers can't win this game.
You said they might win the Super Bowl, didn't you?
I don't know if I said that.
Oh, okay. The winner of the Bills-Ravens will get to the AFC Championship game. Is that Acho Mine?
I think you might be Acho Mine. You're making up statements, but no, this statement is also Acho Mine. The Bills and the Ravens are both dominant football teams, but the AFC is loaded. The Cincinnati Bengals have just re-signed Trey Hendrickson for their defense. They're going to probably get off to a faster start on offense. And oh, by the way, the Broncos and the Chargers are teams that are ascending in the AFC. Yes, I understand. Bills, Ravens, dominant teams, but the AFC is